Hey, eighth grade team. Okay, as promised in our last Tuesday PLC meeting, where we talked about the barriers that get in the way of our pacing, and talked about a way forward to make sure that we are finishing Module 1 in a timely manner, and so that it doesn't also feel really like a long, drawn out process for our students. Ted Mueller has assisted us with coming up with a pathway forward. So what he has done is he has outlined 3 different pathways that will correspond to where you are currently in the module as of today, November 8th. So just, I'm going to email this document out to you along with this video, obviously. And I want you to just read through it in its entirety and determine which of the pathways that you need to take in order to be finished with Module 1 by Tuesday, November 22nd. So that takes us into Thanksgiving break, so that by the time we come back from Thanksgiving break, we're starting Module 2 and it doesn't feel disjointed for students. All right, so again, we need to be wrapping up Module 1 by Tuesday, November 22nd. So that gives us 10 days of instruction. So if you're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, how am I going to do that because of where I am with pacing? Here are your 3 options. So over here on the left-hand side in the very light green, if you are at a place where you can finish the module as is, this is what you will read through and consider. So you'll take a look through that. It gives you pacing considerations to complete Module 1 by November 22nd by remaining consistent with the current planning and instruction process. Ms. Massey, I think you were the farthest along, so this might be your option. So just take a look at the lightest green if you are able to finish the module as is with 10 days of instruction left. The second pathway forward is condensing numerous lessons in order for students to engage with the required standards work of the unit, in addition to finishing reading the novel. So you will finish Module 1 with this pathway by condensing just Unit 3. So this is only if you have completed Unit 2 by November 8th or today. So if you have completed Unit 2 by today, November 8th, you will choose this second pathway forward. And you'll notice that it gives you a pacing guide or calendar to be able to do that. So you'll see the day, so day 1, the lesson, Unit 3, Lesson 1, modification or focus. This is important. So what you're going to do is read this part, modification or focus, and determine what activities from the lesson you actually need to make sure you complete. So for example, Unit 3, Lesson 1, you need to make sure that you are reading and answering the text-dependent questions that focus on central idea and vocabulary. Now, in order to see those activities, you would go to ILC. Make sure you go to 8th grade. Scroll down to our modules. You're going to want to go to Module 1. Scroll down, go to Unit 3. Scroll down, go to Daily Lessons. Pull up the first lesson, and then I want you to start making sure that you are always looking for the lesson narrative. So to get there, you go to About This Lesson, and at the very top it says to learn more about this lesson, English Language Learner Considerations, read the Lesson 1 narrative. So click that, and then you'll scroll down and see what Ted is talking about. So for the work time, they would do a close read of the Summer of Mariposas and do that vocabulary work along with the text-dependent questions that are here for the homework. All right. Then you would go to Lesson 2, which is the mid-unit assessment. All right. Continue, so on and so forth. So it's just really important that you are looking at the lesson narratives and looking at this column, modification or focus for each lesson. And then finally, if you're in Unit 2 and drafting the narrative by November 8th, so again today, you're going to use the condensed Unit 3 pathway. So that would be where we are going to finish Unit 2 and essentially only take the mid-unit assessment from Unit 3. So same thing, you're going to look at this pacing calendar and make sure that you are finishing Unit 2, but then adding on 2 lessons from Unit 3, and then you would be done. Okay, so now the similarity between all 3 pathways are that you're still reading, you're still using the L curriculum, and you are all 3 pathways still taking the mid-unit 3 assessment so that we have that common formal assessment. And because that assessment requires students to use skills that you would have taught throughout the module. All right, so you'll notice down here in yellow, that's what it's stating. All 3 pathways will still require students to take that particular assessment. You'll also notice that in all 3 pathways, students will not be doing the performance task. This is not going to be a trend moving forward. Let me stress, we do not want to have pacing issues for Module 2. So we're trying to do a quick fix for Module 1 and then essentially like do a fresh restart with Module 2, make sure we stay on top of our pacing. So just make sure you read through down here the performance task as well. So again, make sure you read through all 3. Make sure you have identified which of the 3 pathways you need to take with your students and start that work with them. We are going to, again, our hard deadline is November 22nd. We are ending Module 1 on November 22nd so that we can move forward. And please make sure you write down your questions that you have about these pathways so that next Tuesday in PLC, with Ted being there, we can ask these questions and get them answered. But we should go ahead and start this work so that we can move forward